Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Nick Petrillo and welcome to Courier TV News Election Coverage 2018. The polls are open and there's a lot riding on this year's election, so hurry up and make sure to get out and vote. To find your polling place, visit DuPageCounty.org. And joining us in the studio to discuss all of today's election news is Bill Enright, Adjunct Professor of Political Science at the college.
Morning, Nick. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Bright and early.
So let's just give a little preview of today's big races.
Yeah, we could start out with the governor's race. As we discussed the other day, Pritzker looks like he's got a pretty commanding lead in the polls, and part of it is due to the fact that there's two other candidates who are probably closer aligned to Rauner, the conservative candidate and the libertarian candidate, who are probably stealing some votes away from the Rauner camp.
Well, I'm sure he's not happy about that.
Yeah, right. And then we can switch over to the 6th congressional district with Roscoe versus Caston, and that one's way closer than we would have expected. That district had originally been gerrymandered for a Republican. We thought that it would always be held by a Republican, and this race looks like it's going to be really close, and easily I think Caston could win it depending on if there's a large voter turnout.
Well, Hillary Clinton did win it in 2016. So.
Yeah, covered the district in 2016, so it does look like, there's enough Democrats there, enough people voting Democrat in that district.
But it's all about who turns out, right?
Yeah, right. And I really think that this is going to be a high turnout election. You don't normally have as high of a turnout election in the midterms as you would in a presidential election, but this year I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, they got 12 long hours to turn out.
Yeah, right. And then some other ones that I'm keeping an eye on in the state rep race, Tara Costa Howard against Peter Breen. Again, one of those districts that had been gerrymandered for a Republican, but it looks like Tara Costa Howard's giving Peter Breen a pretty tight race there. And so we might see an upset there too, where a Democrat takes over another seat in Republican DuPage County.
So some very tight races in DuPage County. One that we've been covering for a while now is the DuPage County Sheriff's race.
Yeah, Mendrick versus Whalen, and Mendrick's got a lot of support from the sheriffs themselves within the sheriff department. He's got a lot of support throughout DuPage County. Most elected officials who are Republicans have endorsed him, and so I think he's got a pretty strong shot at this. But again, in a midterm election, you never know what's going to happen.
Nope, but we'll be here to cover it.
Yeah. One other one that we can just take a look at is the referendums, and this is just an advisory referendum. It's not a binding referendum that's going on with DuPage County, basically asking the voters whether or not they want to have a 1% increase in their property tax, which I don't think that referendum is going to go very well. I don't think anybody's going to want to have their property tax increased by 1%, but it is one of those that's been kicked around by the state whether or not they'd be willing to create this 1% property tax to handle the large financial issues that the state has, and I can't imagine the DuPage County voters approving that.
So you think that's mostly just a symbolic thing to tell whoever is elected governor, hey, the people don't want this tax, or they do want it, depending on how it turns out.
Yeah, right. Truly symbolic, exactly. Just an advisory. It's not going to be binding in any way.
All right. Well, we'll have more on that and a bunch of others when we come back with Bill later today at noon. So this has been your election update. Thank you for choosing Courier TV News for your election coverage this morning. And we now leave you with the segment we like to call Chap Chat, where we ask students whether or not they're going to vote today.
I'm registered to vote yes.
Not really sure.
Yes, I am.
I haven't decided, but I probably should. Yeah.
So, obviously everybody says every vote matters, as cliche as that sounds, but honestly, if you don't vote, then it just means that there could be somebody who gets into office whose ideals you could disagree with, and it's just important to get your opinion out in the world,